Kim. Nice to have you back
Thank you, Jono.
in the Zoom room for another session. So let's dive straight into today's daily quotes. I'll just share my screen with you quickly. If you can read the headline quote for today, that'd be great. In my screen. Yeah, so you can read that quote to kick us off, kindly.
To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws and its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for salvation, and the cost belief in it entails.
Yeah, quite a powerful quote, this. This is one of the inserts in part 2 of the workbook in answer to the question, what is the ego? It's telling us exactly how we can know reality again with a capital R. And then that's pretty simple. It's just to overlook everything the ego or the belief in separation was invented to obscure it. But that's a lot easier said than done. So yes, his promise to us is that we can and inevitably will do exactly this by systematically training our minds to let go of the belief in separation in all its forms as they present themselves in our life experiences. And that process of letting go of the belief in separation consistently, systematically, progressively is called forgiveness in the Course. And this is what it means to learn how to radically forgive, or in our language, master the art of letting go. So this weekend, looking ahead, if you want to join us tomorrow evening, we're going to be watching The Matrix from 6 p.m. It's actually 7, I must change that. It's 7 p.m. South African time, because we now, clocks went forward on Sunday, so 1 hour behind. 7 p.m., which will give us 3 to 4 hours to watch it, 2 hours, but then there's some interruptions. I'll do a little introduction, some commentary along the way, so probably going to take 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, if you're up for it tomorrow, join us. Ideally get the movie on your own device, and then we're just going to watch, because I can't actually show it on mine. It just blocks it out. Weird, like we tried yesterday. Like if you show a YouTube video, it'll show it, but if it's The Matrix on YouTube, it won't. Somehow there's some algorithm that Zoom picks up that says, "Oh, that's a copyrighted video. You can't show it."
So yeah,
how they do it. That's yeah.
Yeah, I remember we tried to do that a couple of
Yeah,
years ago, I think.
yeah, doesn't work. So you have to get it on your own device. So yeah, if you want to join us, Archie will join Patricia. Probably just the two of them actually, because the South African guys who started the course dropped out, sadly. They're not going to be part of it. Harold and Hudson, yeah.
Okay.
Was the name of your game was too much for me. You them up. Well, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be make or break. If they join it and they want to carry on, then all night. Which is what I said to Harold. I said, look, give it a try. It's not for you, and you want to quit it on Monday, then that's fine. But at least you tried it.
Yeah, maybe they just also stressed out with time as well, from the sounds of things. So what was shared.
Yeah, I mean, but if you want to go through a process, you can make the time. I said, give me 10 hours of your time over the next 3 weeks, and you'll get value. Harold said, I didn't see any value in it. But hang on. I said, but you said, didn't you say, I think it was your feedback. And he said, well, actually, that's spot on. Was it your feedback that he said that to?
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, it's spot on. This is a total stranger. who's only known you for 5 minutes, like there's something here for you, surely. You know, there's some stuff to work on, but not everyone's open and willing, so
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And it's
So yeah,
overwhelm as well. I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just
yeah.
sometimes
You got
you
to be
feel not ready, but
in the
it's just,
right
yeah,
frame of mind. You got to be ready for it.
yeah, it's overwhelm.
And if you're not, then yeah, it doesn't work. So
Mm.
the course isn't for everyone. I know that. Yeah. So will you be able to join tomorrow? Join us if you can.
Yeah, let's see. I know at least it's a bit earlier start tomorrow, but it's quite long.
Hmm.
So I have to see how it goes because I'm just trying to like also
Hmm.
not pack up. I've got a few things I want to try and do tomorrow as well. I don't want to, I'm trying not to just pack so much in. Like I said, I do need to rest a bit as well and try and
Hmm.
just,
Hmm.
so
Oh, don't
it,
join us,
I
and
might,
if you want to bail out after an hour,
yeah,
do that.
maybe I'll
Hmm.
just join for the first while,
Yeah. Yeah.
not so long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hour two is, fine.
yeah.
You need to leave at 8 or 9 or whenever you feel
Mm,
like you need to go to sleep, then that's fine.
mm.
Just try and then get the matrix sorted. So you can get it on YouTube for about 35 rand. It's not expensive.
I
Or a
wonder,
DVD.
I
I
wonder if
just
it's still on Netflix. Or one of those channels, I think either Netflix or Amazon, I think it was on before.
I'll tell you where it's on. So what's the matrix online? There we
In
go.
South Africa
So
sometime.
you can get it on YouTube, definitely. Sky Store, Apple TV, HBO Max,
Mm.
Google Play, which is the same as YouTube, Matrix, Netflix. Okay, maybe let's see. Isn't currently available to watch in your country, but I'm in the UK, so I don't know if that applies in South Africa.
Mm.
There's all these licensing sort of rights and stuff. So I don't know if you search it there, you'll see where it's
Mm.
you'll see where it's available. But YouTube as a fallback, I got it on YouTube, and it's it's not what £3 49. So not that expensive. And
Yeah.
then you just watch along while we go with it.
Mm.
I'll say okay, start, and then we watch, and then say stop, and then we'll have a discussion, and then we'll say start again, and so everyone can do it. And then you can do it on a big screen as well, TV, whatever you want to put it on. Okay, so see if you can work that one out, and yeah,
Yeah.
we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for some of the time anyway. So interesting that this year it coincides with the Matrix is really the Christ narrative, given that it's Good Friday,
Mm.
quite appropriate because that identifying that false self concept, that's the core belief of the ego, which we do in the name your game and flipping your flop exercise, is
Mm.
that really is the resurrection. The crucifixion is what the ego does to you, the belief in separation and all of its dire consequences. The resurrection is the letting go of that and identifying again with your true self. So quite appropriate. We're doing that work over the Easter weekend. Actually, that's
Mm.
how it's working this year. The flipping your flop is going to
Mm.
happen on Easter Sunday, which is the day of the
Yeah.
resurrection. It's quite appropriate, actually. I'm like, oh, okay, wow. So obviously that was by divine design. I didn't even work out when Easter was going to be, and because I delayed the course starting by 2 weeks, it means that
Mm.
we're in Easter. I'm like, okay, right. So in future, I'm going to try and start at the same time every year, and then we'll be doing the matrix around. Easter varies, and Easter can be at the end of April as well. So it just depends. Normally, it's somewhere
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
beginning to the middle. But to this year, it all aligns beautifully, which is no accident. So if you can identify what that single core belief of the ego is, then you're in an excellent position to flip it around, turn it around, which is the resurrection. And the identification with your essence or true or Christ identity. So if you want to join us on Sunday, it's not essential because you've done the name of your game, but we're going to do the reverse of it, the positive feedback. If you want to join us, you're welcome to do that positive feedback from 6 on Sunday. Again, you don't have to join for the whole time, but it'll actually be quite quick. It will probably be half an hour, maybe an hour, and then we'll actually do a session after that. So
Let me see, Jonah, because I'm seeing someone who's moving country kind of
yeah,
late afternoon. So I don't know
no, they're probably not.
if I'm
Okay.
going to be back
Well,
in
you know the
time.
time.
Yeah,
It'll be 6 till about 10 your
okay.
time. So join us if you can. Okay, so that leads us nicely into today's stuff. Today's bonus discussion was actually quite interesting. So I want to mention this because the lady, I don't know if you remember Bali. No, I think she was before your time. So I think
I
Bali.
think she joined when I do remember her joining a couple of sessions
Yeah. Oh.
as
So
the year after I did the first Art Celebrity Go course, I think.
yeah. She brought up a situation in work where she felt like she'd acted out of integrity. I can't remember the details, but she basically told a white lie to someone at work, her boss or something. And I gave an alternative way to look at the situation that helped her release the guilt that she was feeling about. And I expanded on the idea, saying that the ego's system of morals and ethics is centered on what is right from its materialistic and linear point of view, which is the scientific materialist worldview. Okay, so here it is. It's very rigid, and this is what's correct and this is what's not, and this is how the world's laws were made up by the ego, and what it tries to do is make us feel guilty when we break them. Okay? So it's a system of thought. It's a system of laws, but all of it's false. So what today's quote is saying is that to escape this guilt and know what reality is, we must overlook or let go of all the ego's thoughts, acts, laws, and beliefs. That's the only way out. So none of the whole system of thought, all of the laws are simply not true. So the Holy Spirit's ethical thought system only considers whether what you're doing causes suffering or creates peace and joy. It's not concerned with all of the worldly consequences and all the reasons why laws get made here. It's only saying, is this actually causing suffering to other human beings or other life? And if it causes suffering, then it's out of accord, right? The Holy Spirit doesn't cause suffering. Out of accord with the Holy Spirit's way of thinking, it needs to be forgiven or let go of to correct it. But if there's no suffering caused, then it can't be of any consequence, and there's really nothing to be corrected because it should be obvious that nothing really happened. Although you may still need to go through the process of releasing any suffering, your own actions are seemingly causing you, because you believe that they're causing you or others to suffer, as was the case with the body. So she had an illusion in her mind that this was a problem. She was guilty. And I said to her, has it actually caused anyone to suffer? She said, no. Well, then what's the problem? Why are you feeling guilty? She says, no, okay, well, that's a really interesting way to look at it. And so a different ethical system, suffering or no suffering, does it create suffering? Then it can't be right. If it doesn't create suffering, then what's the problem? So you didn't pay a parking ticket. Does it cause suffering? No, it doesn't really cause suffering. So what's the problem? Now, obviously, the ego is going to be up in arms about that. So, well, you should do that because that's the law, and etc. But from the Holy Spirit's point of view, it's not concerned about stuff like that. Only concerned with what's going on a mental and emotional level. And that whatever you do, don't experience guilt. You know, guilt is antithetical to its thought system. So yeah, quite an interesting discussion, debate, about how you have a different system of morals and ethics if you're in the Holy Spirit as opposed to the ego. The ego system is very rigid, very linear, very materialistic, and typically bound by the world's laws. Now, none of those are true. So if you follow that system, it's never going to make you happy. And we saw a good example of following that system was, COVID-19 and what happened, that whole pandemic. And, people who followed the rules, it's like, well, actually, if we look back now 5 years down the line, you go, that was all a bit insane. It was crazy. But, people at the time followed it because that's what we were told to do, even though they might have gone, this doesn't really make a lot of sense, what's going on here. So that was a very good demonstration of the whole, how crazy the ego's whole thought system and its system of laws and its code of ethics. The ego's actually trying to make you feel guilty for not taking a vaccine. Like, hang on, it's actually completely, upside down. But anyway, I won't go too much into it because this video will probably be banned on YouTube. So we'll just leave that one.
Yeah.
Whether they're still doing that or not, I think it's all a bit like no one really cares now. It's
Well,
all...
actually, there's been stuff that I've seen come up in the last week. I think there's been like hearings in that just about the effects. I'm glad that there is something that's been talked about still. Just saying, yeah, I think it was about the vaccine. Or yeah.
Yeah, well, there were definitely negative side effects on a lot of people, and they never really got properly addressed. It was all just kind of swept under the carpet.
Yeah, it is, but it seems like there is, or I don't know, I didn't look into detail because it's like again, it's like, okay, now they've given something else for everyone to look at, like the Epstein files have taken a back seat, but it will come out again.
Yeah, it's going to be something else. Everyone's got to have a new news
But
story, isn't it?
yeah, anyway, but I do hope that, with that, maybe, or who knows, but maybe something will come of that.
Well, whatever. If it doesn't, it
Yeah,
doesn't. The only important thing is, can you learn the lessons from all of that? And there's
which
definitely a
is,
lot of, for me, it just showed the complete insanity of the ego system. And this was supposed to be, normal, and this is what authorities wanted you to do, and it's like it's totally bonkers. So if anything's going to show you the ego's insane, then the whole COVID-19 pandemic, that was really its, its purpose to show everyone, okay, this is actually totally nuts, really. And believing in the insane is never going to make you happy or well. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that. So Bakang talked about the hero's journey. He talked about he didn't want to continue doing his job, so we talked about the hero's journey. And it's important to find an inspired purpose, like what really inspires you in life. And too often, the ego doesn't inspire us. It's about the practical, it's about the mundane, or maybe it's about seeking wealth or power or something like that. But it's not what inspires you. It's not a deeper calling. So that's what we're all here to find. And finally, we talked about Ho'oponopono, which is really another version of the radical forgiveness that the Course talks about. And the key principle is we need to take full responsibility for whatever shows up in our lives in order to be able to let it go fully. So until you say, yes, I'm responsible, i.e. this is my projection, it's coming out of my own faulty thought system and self-concept, you're always going to blame the external world and say, it's not me, it's someone else or something else that's done it to me. And the principle that I love about Ho'oponopono is saying, no, no, I'm 100% responsible. So I'm sorry for making the error that I'm now seeing in the mirror of the world. Please forgive me. So I'm asking for forgiveness or to let it go, in other words. Thank you. It's done. I've let it go. I'm healed. And I love you. I love myself and I love whoever else that I'm projecting onto, if there's another person involved in the situation. So it's another way of letting go, another way of collapsing the ego.
I watched that video earlier on.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it's a good one.
Mm. Yeah, this is kind of where he talks about how we mind is just full of darts and you actually need to let it go. And so actually
Mm,
it was quite interesting because he's in the video he spends more time talking about that than like the whole I mean he mentions like I'm sorry and that, but
mm, mm,
it's like really focused in on letting go
mm.
the darts in the mind and like
Yeah.
who's observing that.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, which is just spiritual, like any other spiritual teaching, saying
Mm.
let go of the ego part of the mind to awaken to who you really are. And the zero
Mm.
state that he's talking about, zero limits, that's the pure awareness. There are no limits in that awareness. Just as an aside, I watched a movie put out by Joe Vitale, who was his business partner at one point, and really got Ho'oponopono out. And it was an interesting misapplication. I thought, this isn't what Ho'oponopono is at all. They were talking about using Ho'oponopono to manifest. And I'm going, no, that's not really what it's about. And then it got actually a bit bizarre because one of the people Joe interviewed was a lady who was supposedly a coach teacher of Ho'oponopono. And she was describing how she used Ho'oponopono to manifest a blue marlin, catching a blue marlin. I'm going, no, that's really not what it's for, right? It's not a manifestation technique to get what your ego wants. Um,
Mm.
so what happens then is they're mixing the levels. They're mixing it is a very high spiritual technique, Ho'oponopono, that's about letting go and accessing your true
Mm.
self with conscious manifestation, which is all about getting what I, as the ego, wants. Saying, oh, well, I use this technique, which is actually about cleaning your mind and restoring you back to your original state of mind, i.e., your true self, God. And they're saying, no, it's now going to be a tool to help your ego to get what it thinks it wants. I was like, no, 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 that's you're not really
Mm.
understanding the deeper spiritual meaning, which is maybe why Dr. Hugh Len spends so much time talking about that, because it's the underlying principle. It's not just a technique that's, oh, I use the technique and I get what I want. It's actually much more profound than that. It's taking you back to that zero state, which is pure awareness, which is your original self, which is what every great spiritual technique and teaching does. That's what is part of the perennial philosophy. Just another version of it. Well, so
Mm.
just wanted to mention that because that was an obvious
Mm.
misapplication. Then I just stopped watching
Mm.
the video. I was like, okay, this is just nonsense. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's this is what happens when people who don't understand the metaphysics and the deeper spiritual principles, they get hold of a technique and they go, oh, okay, now let's use this for our old idea of manifestation. And isn't this cool? It's like, no, no, no. Okay, my voice, she did actually get a blue marlin because she obviously wanted it and intended it. But like really is killing another living being, a beautiful fish, is killing it painfully over several hours. Is that really forgiveness? Is that what love would do?
Mm.
Hardly. So, there's an obvious misinterpretation, misapplication of the technique. Okay, so that brings us to our lesson for today. Let me just get this going. So let's get the right audio set up. Where are we? It's going to be USB camera. Okay, so off we go. So lesson 19 is what we're busy with. Very, very simple lesson. If you want to read that, Kim.
I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts.
Yeah, it's quite a profound idea. We're never alone in experiencing the effects of our thoughts because there's only one mind thinking everything. So whenever we think anything, it's going into the mind and it's affecting the whole mind, which then affects everyone who's part of that mind, which is literally everyone and everything. Every living being is part of that. So if I'm thinking a positive thought, that's affecting everyone. If I'm thinking a negative thought, that's affecting everyone. That's what it's saying. So we need to be really vigilant. You know, there are no private thoughts. It's another religious principle. There are no private thoughts. So be vigilant of what you're thinking. Imagine that what you're thinking about anyone or anything is known to them already. It's known to everyone already. You'd be a lot more vigilant of your thoughts. You go, well, this isn't a private thought. Actually, this is going into the whole. And you know, is this positive or not? Is this a thought that I'm proud of or not? And if it's negative, you're never going to. You wouldn't want other people to know that thought. It's not a nice thought. So on that basis, you discard it. Say, you know, no, this isn't what I want to hold in my mind because it's a private thought that I wouldn't want anyone else to know. And only the ego's negative thoughts are like that. You know, the Holy Spirit, it's only happy, positive, loving, kind, beneficial thoughts, which you don't need to hide from anyone. If you've been kind and nice to people, you don't need to hide it from them. In fact, you want to share it with them. Okay, so let's read. Shall we read the original alternative? I'll read the original.
There's a bit of a difficult one sometimes to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's this isn't easy, but this is you know this is the standard. It's holding us to a high standard. So you know, you need to really watch your thoughts and be mindful of them because it's going into the whole. And if you're thinking a negative thought about anyone, they know it already on some level because we're all connected on a mind level. So be vigilant of those thoughts. Okay, so I'll read the original, you read the alternative. The idea for today is obviously the reason why your seeing does not affect you alone.
The idea for today is obviously the reason why your perception does not affect you alone.
Just change seeing to perception. Because it's not just your eyes seeing, it's the whole perception, including all the five physical senses. You will notice that at times the ideas related to thinking precede those related to perceiving, while at other times the order is reversed.
You will notice that at times the ideas related to thinking precede those related to perceiving, while at other times the order is reversed.
The reason is that the order does not matter.
The reason is that the order does not matter.
Thinking and its results are really simultaneous, for cause and effect are never separate.
Thinking and its results are really simultaneous, for cause and effect are never separate. Okay, the idea for today. Oh, do you want me to read this alternative?
Yeah, I'll read it again from the top, discuss it. It's a fairly short lesson, so there's not actually a lot to do.
The idea for today is obviously the reason why your perception does not affect you alone. You will notice that at times the ideas related to thinking precede those related to perceiving, while at other times the order is reversed. The reason is that the order does not matter. Thinking and its results are really simultaneous, for cause and effect are never separate.
Okay, so what's he really saying there? It's kind of summarized quite nicely in the slide. Cause and effect are not separate.
Yeah, you can either think a thought and then it somehow is projected, or you perceive something which generates a thought about that.
Yeah. But actually, if there's no time, then they're really simultaneous. So this collapses
Yeah.
the idea of time. Cause and effect is time idea, isn't it? Cause, time elapses, effect. If there's no time, then cause and effect collapse. There's no cause that then causes an effect later on in time. So he's saying really that it's all part of one thought system, right? Whether you think you're perceiving something that's out there, whether you think you're thinking, it's all part of one thought system. And if you collapse it all down, collapse cause and effect, you get to the real cause of the ego and the world, which is just the idea of separation, the thought system of separation, which is thinking, but it also then affects your perception. We have a look at integral model. Have a quick squiz at that. So what's going on here is integrally linked to what's going on here. In the internal subjective I, thoughts, emotions, memories, states of mind, perceptions, and what goes on here in the external world, it's actually just two sides of the same coin. And we might go, well, this is now cause, and then this is effect, or the ego says all the time, this is cause, and this is effect, right? It switches it around. He's saying there is no cause and effect. It's part of one whole system. And if you can see that, and you drop this idea of cause and effect, you see that it's just one integrated system. So it's kind of the idea of the integral model, that it's all part of this one system and everything connects with everything else. Everything's linked up. So it's not really separate. You can't say the objective world is separate from the subjective world, and the individual is separate from the collective. They're actually all part of one system. We just have these quadrants in the matrix to differentiate these different aspects. So they seem to be separate, but they're not really. It's actually just one thing. If you took away the quadrant diagram that seems to separate them, and you just had this the circular lines, it's much more unitive and whole. It's like it's actually all just one thing going on, which is obviously an aspect of the oneness, the one mind. Ultimately, once you transcend all these bits of separation that the model talks about, you go into the non-dual, perfect awareness of oneness, which transcends all limits, which is beyond the model. It's beyond any of the construct of the model. Okay, so go back. Yeah, I actually want to, on we go in there. The cause and effect are not separate. Maybe just read these little bits, interpret the diagram as well.
Cause and effect are not separate. Yeah, perceiving becomes before thinking. Nothing I see means anything. These thoughts do not mean anything.
Those are lessons that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Lesson 1, lesson 4, and then
yeah, thinking comes before perceiving. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things.
yeah, I have no neutral thoughts, and I see no neutral things.
The order does not. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just read that.
The order does not actually matter. Thinking and its results are really simultaneous, for cause and effect are not separate. What we think, we see.
So again, you go back here. You have a thought, and then you have a perception, and that's really almost simultaneous in time. Right? I think about something, and I'm perceiving it simultaneously. So that might be a perception, let's say, of something or someone outside of you. But there's a thought and the perception are happening at the same time. So there's really there's no time lapse. And so he's saying, well, we'll look at it and go that this whole thought system of the ego, it's thought and it's perception, but they're actually part of the same system. And you want to let go of that entire system. And you really want to just go entirely into pure thought. Right? The purest form of thought with a capital T is pure awareness, which is beyond any thoughts of the ego. It's beyond dualistic thought. Pure thought, capital T, is actually awareness. It's not subject-object dualistic thought anymore. It's just a pure awareness which only exists in this, your experience of it exists here, in the I, the subjective I self, knows that pure awareness. It underlies the objective side of the model, but it's only seen as a reflection. Yeah, what underlies all the body and all the material objects. So our job then is to perceive it from the I am self, true self. We perceive all of this differently, and we see that this same awareness underlies all of these objects. Then we see it everywhere. But as a direct inner experience, this is where it's at, right? All of spirituality brings us back home to here, to the I am presence, and says, this is the truth. This is the purest and most direct expression of it. And this is where you need to go. Kingdom of heaven lies within, Jesus put it. So he said, go in your own mind and you'll find it. But he also said it's spread out upon the earth, but people don't see it. Because it is actually everywhere, but what they see is the form of everything. They see these objective forms of bodies and material stuff instead of the kingdom of heaven, because that's all covered over. But actually it underlies all of it. It's the screen onto which all of that stuff's projected, the fundamental awareness without which none of this would exist. So this is collapsing it all, saying cause and effect are not really separate. Collapse it all back into pure awareness, in which there's only one awareness, one mind, one thought, and all of this stuff just drops away. The matrix collapses. It can't sustain in a timeless state without cause and effect. You see that? This is based on time. Cause, I think this, and then effect, this happens, or vice versa. I see a cause here, something happens, and then effect is I have a perception based on my sense perception, based on what my senses are telling me. I will now have a bunch of thoughts about it, which is the ego's false causation, saying this is now cause and this is effect. But actually, at the highest level, all of it's not true. There is no cause and there is no effect, because the model's not true. It collapses into perfect oneness, which is timeless, in which there is no cause and effect. And that's what he's trying to do. Remember this, sorry, wrong one. This meets us where we are. Ultimately, there's no cause and effect, but he meets us in a state of mind where we believe cause and effect are very real. And so those ideas need to now be undone in this kind of very kind, gentle way by studying these lessons. And ideas like the order doesn't really matter, thinking its results are already simultaneous, but cause and effect are not separate. So that's taking us back to the oneness. Beyond cause and effect, they're not really separate because they don't really exist. There's only one awareness, ultimately. That's what it collapses down to. So instead of thinking from a weak, vulnerable self-concept, and then we project that thought out onto the world, and now we perceive all these crazy, hurtful, fearful objects, situations, people, and events. That's the ego's world. This cycle of cause and effect collapses into the timeless I am, into the light that's beyond it. And we just go there, into no cause, no effect, pure awareness, and all of this just becomes irrelevant. None of it means anything because it's all illusion. Okay, carry on, shall we? So today, we are again emphasizing the fact that minds are joined.
Today we are again emphasizing the fact that minds are joined.
There isn't actually anything to translate until we get to down here. So just read the rest until we get to despite.
This is really a wholly welcome idea at first because it seems to carry with it an enormous sense of responsibility and may even be regarded as an invasion of privacy. Yet it is a fact that there are no private thoughts.
I'll read this. Despite your initial resistance to this idea, you will yet understand that it must be true if salvation is possible at all.
Despite your initial resistance to this idea, you will yet understand that it must be true if awakening is possible at all.
And salvation must be possible because it is the will of God.
And awakening must be possible because its source is the pure formless awareness of perfect love.
The translated salvation as awakening, and then the will of God becomes, because its source is the pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's the will of God. Taking us back to that pure awareness, which is the most descriptive term that I've come up with for this pure state beyond the ego, beyond any cause and effect, just a pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, so just read that in its entirety from the top.
Today, we are again emphasizing the fact that minds are joined. This is really a wholly welcome idea at first, since it seems to carry with it an enormous sense of responsibility and may even be regarded as an invasion of privacy. Yet it is a fact that there are no private thoughts. Despite your initial resistance to this idea, you'll yet understand that it must be true if awakening is possible at all. And awakening must be possible because its source is the pure formless awareness of perfect love.
So yeah, thoughts on that?
Well, it's a sense of responsibility that we perceive this as, that minds are joined and there's no private thoughts. So I think initially it feels a bit uncomfortable, knowing that, well, learning this it's rather uncomfortable for people.
Because the truth is, most people are not particularly vigilant of their thoughts, and they wouldn't want a lot of their thoughts to be known by other people. If they're not nice, happy, positive thoughts, if you're judging and condemning and criticizing yourself or others in your mind, you don't really want them to know that. You just want to keep it to yourself. It's the idea of private thoughts. But really, you think it's private thoughts because that's the illusion of the ego. But if there's only really one mind, then there are no private thoughts. On some level, everyone knows already what you're thinking. Going into the one mind, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously. So, this is how it works. There's like a subconscious connection. So I had an interesting little miracle today. I was talking to a guy about getting a referral fee for doing a referral. He's a financial advisor, and I was trying to help someone, but I couldn't. So I said, look, I'll just refer him. And I'd kind of set the bar at what I wanted. And then I thought before the call, I just went, you know what, it's going to be fine. There's going to be no disagreement because I am worthy, I am enough, and so I have enough. And then it was so interesting. I went, okay, that was fine, just leave it. And then we got on the call, and he just said, yeah, okay, let's do it. Fine, no problem. Now, the interesting thing is, if I hadn't thought that, would he have said that? I won't know, obviously, because that's the way it played out. But
Mm.
there was definitely a sense of, okay, it's done. I've set the intention. It's like I'm worthy of this. And he just said, yeah, it's no problem. I'll do it. If I hadn't, I bet that there would have been some kind of an argument. Like if my mindset hadn't been, correctly attuned, I'm almost certain that there would have been like, no, I don't want to do that. We had to negotiate and might have got it
Mm.
tricky. But I just went, okay, that's what I'm worth. I said
Mm.
it once, had quick thoughts about it for maybe 30 seconds, and then I left it. And then the call just, and I went, well, isn't that interesting? There wasn't really even an issue. I just said, yeah, so this is what I'd like, and you tell me what you can do. And he went, okay, yeah, all right, let's do it. So there's a demonstration
Mm.
of the principle, right? Our minds are connected. My mind, my thoughts about myself and saying, yes, I'm worthy of this, was not disconnected from his mind and then his decision to say, yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. There's no doubt. And the more obviously you practice this, the more you start seeing that. So it also gives us a lot of power. If there's no private thoughts, it means that you can affect everyone, and everything through the power of your thoughts. You can do it positively or negatively. That's the responsibility. Do it negatively, then it's going to have a very destructive effect. If you do it positively, then you can literally change the world. As we've seen people like Yeshua, the Buddha, so on, very high level masters who had high degree of control of their thoughts. They did profoundly change the world as a result of that. Okay, so this is an interesting question.
Mm.
Slide. Why do we hide our thoughts from others? So if you want to read that.
Why do we hide our thoughts from others? We want to protect others from our thoughts. This is not as obvious as we think. We dislike someone. Why do we care if our words will hurt them? Indeed, we often speak them to hurt them. But have you noticed a tendency to use pseudonames or to focus your anger on certain aspects of a person as opposed to the person as a whole? Just because we are scared of how much damage we can cause through the anger that courses in our veins. This seems unconscious. However, as a part of our mind is very aware of our murderous intents and also very afraid of it.
I know exactly what he's talking about. Does that resonate with you? Like when I went through kind of dark nights of the soul, what, 10 to 12 years ago. I mean, it was not an easy time, but there was a huge amount of anger that came up. And I was freaked out by what I might do. It was just, oh my goodness, like there is actually a murderous intent here, and I'm aware of it for the first time in my life. And if I listen to this voice, it's going to be incredibly destructive. At that point in my life, I was with a small baby, wife, alone in a house. It was very difficult. It's like, yeah, I mean, you can see. I mean, sometimes you read on the news, and man kills his whole family. You can see how it happens if you allow those thoughts to consume you. Then that's the kind of thing that happens as a result. So I think we all have that. Oh, like actually, this is very toxic. It's very destructive. And on some level, we want to hide that. We don't want that to affect the people that we with that we supposedly love, even though on the level we also hate them. So we're very conflicted. One moment we want to murder them, the next we
Mm.
go, oh, that's not very nice. Feel guilty for that, and actually, I do love them. So what we've got to do is become integrous and say, it's one or the other. We can't love them and hate them. It's one or the other. And if we only love, then there's no need to hide our thoughts. We don't need to have private thoughts if there's only love. That's the only thought system in which you're not going to have to hide your thoughts. Okay, and then number two, we want to protect ourselves from feeling exposed.
We want to protect ourselves from feeling exposed. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have no need for privacy with regards to our thoughts? That should be our goal, to have no private or unloving thoughts.
Interesting. Private is the same as unloving, right? If it's private, then you can almost be certain it's unloving. Because you only need to keep unloving thoughts private. If it's a truly loving thought, then there's no need to keep it private. Again, a call to just become more aware of these private thoughts and stop them. So if this is a private thought and I wouldn't want to share it with everyone, then it's not a thought that belongs in my mind. I need to let it go. All right, and then just read the last, that's a quote from the text. The last sentence.
Anytime there is anything unloving that crosses your mind, you should immediately recognize that you do not want to hurt your brother.
So the correction is, okay, I had an unloving thought, but that's not true. That idea isn't true. That thought isn't true. I don't really want to hurt my brother. And so I'm going to let it go. That was just another crazy ego idea, which isn't true and it isn't really me. And so that's the process of forgiveness. A conscious choosing of the thoughts you're going to allow and the thoughts you're going to let go of. And some teachers say, well, welcome it all and it's all good. And, if the thought wants to be there, then let it be there. And when it wants to go, let it go. But I think don't sort of repress anything. If there's a hurtful thought coming up, notice it, be aware of it. But then you need to make a conscious choice to let it go. It's not something you're going to wallow in. You go, oh, well, I welcome this murderous thought. No, you're aware of it. You see it, and then you go, okay, no, like I need to make a choice here. I don't want to think this. I need to let this go. And that's the choice aspect of forgiveness. You choose against the ego to choose the spirit, which is essential. You can't choose both. And just awareness isn't going to do it. Okay, I'm aware of this, but that thought's still going on. No, the choice then comes in to say, I can let this go. Right? This thought isn't who I am. This thought doesn't serve any purpose. It's hurtful by nature. So I'm going to let it go. I'm going to choose another thought. I was thinking a hurtful thought towards my brother. I'm going to let that go, and I'm thinking instead of loving them and blessing them, replacing the negative, destructive thought with a positive, helpful one. And that process is forgiveness. That process is the miracle when you choose again. And that's what all these lessons are designed to help you do. Okay. So this is just the practice. I'll take you through this in a meditation. So I'll guide you through this just now. So let's look at the diagrams before we do that. So minds are joined. Whenever we think lovingly of someone, the whole sonship lights up, which is quite a nice way of describing it. The result of judgment is that all of this is darkened. Right? We don't really see Christ the Son. We don't see an aspect of the Son. We don't really see Jesus, you and your brother. All of it's obscured. Although it's there, it's not lighted up. The result of what Yeshua calls vision is being able to see the light in all of this. So this light shines through all the different aspects of the sonship and illuminates it. And so we see everyone and everything in this light, and it kind of radiates through and shines through it, as is quite well shown in the diagram. And so this Christ, the Son of God, the one self that we share, we see that in everyone and everything. That's vision. It's still not ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is pure awareness, right? So if we look at the levels in the Holy Trinity, pure awareness is at level 1. This the Christ awareness, the Son of God, is an intermediate level that connects the levels. It says this comes through the intermediate level of Christ, the Son, and from this Son, this true self, you can now perceive correctly. You perceive all the people, places, things, events, and circumstances, and all the experiences in the universe from the perspective of the Son, which is true perception, corrected perception, which is forgiving. Okay, so shall we? Just think there's one more diagram. Yeah, and so this is just the need to be indiscriminate and random in selecting practice subjects. So this is just saying that everything is equally valid. You want to read that, Kim? So you're dropping off. Kim, hello.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Jenna, I'm just struggling a bit.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
read that,
okay.
and then we'll do a meditation. Then we'll finish.
Okay, all right, okay.
Hmm.
Need to be indiscriminate and random in selecting practice subjects. Being able to apply the idea just as easily to our partner's body as to a speck on the floor will ultimately enable us to heal cancer just as easily as a cold. Yeah, I was reading this, it's like, okay, I mean, I haven't put it, yeah.
Well, if there's really no order of difficulty in miracles, then that's the application of it. I was listening to a talk. It actually was, I think, in yesterday's mind training material. Talk by Satguru. I don't know if you listened to it.
Yeah, I just started listening to it, yeah.
So in it, he describes an experience where he was playing hockey and he fractured his ankle quite seriously, and he went and he just sat and he meditated on it, and he had asthma at the time, and he meditated on, they're like, well, if his mind is controlling all of it, then how can this be? How can there be these negative conditions, pain and suffering in the body? And he meditated for an hour, and it was gone. His ankle was healed, his asthma disappeared, and so this is what can happen when you really wake up to the power of the mind. Then extraordinary things on a physical level that aren't supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be able to heal a fractured ankle in an hour, right? That's medical science would tell you that's impossible. But that was his experience, and he's not the first one to have those kinds of miracles. Many similar miracles documented throughout history, especially at Lourdes in France. They have something like more than 70 documented miracles where person's gone in, they've had a full medical examination. It's like, okay, this is their condition. They go into the so-called holy waters, and they get assessed afterwards, and the condition's gone. It's disappeared. And that's all happened in the space of an hour or so, which is quite extraordinary. So, it is possible. It's not usual. But that's what happens when the mind really awakens. Something happens when some people go to Lourdes and they have a transformational kind of experience internally, and then that heals the body. So we need to treat each illusion, no matter how big or small, as unreal. And then that transfers not just to our mind, but it transfers to everyone. So this is how Jesus did his healing. He was so high in his thought. He was so pure in his thought that if someone showed up with a disease, let's say they had leprosy, maybe that's what's being illustrated here. That's presumably leprosy on someone's hands. To just say it doesn't really exist. This cannot be. And he's so certain in his faith, in his belief in that transmits to the other person. They somehow go into the same idea, the same consciousness, and then the body's healed. Miraculously, like instantly.
Mm.
And I think in those days, they believed more. Nowadays, if you said to someone, well, I want to heal you instantly, they'd say that's impossible. My doctor said, I need to take whatever medication, and they believed in the Messiah and in the power of God. And so, okay, if you really believe, as he said, it's your faith that has made you well. It's not anything to do with me, really. It's your own faith. But he became the kind of catalyst for their faith because he had such strong faith. And he held that frequency for everyone. Then they believed. And then the more that people did that, the more that field of belief built. And if people entered into the field, then miracles could happen. That's what happened. And he did say, it's your faith that's made you well. He didn't claim to have done it himself. And he also said, when he went to his hometown of Nazareth, he said, I can't do miracles here because no one believes. They were like, oh, well, this is just little Yeshua who grew up, and we remember him 20 years ago. He was a little snotty kid running on the street. How can he be the Messiah? So they didn't believe. So he couldn't do it because there wasn't that field of belief as there was elsewhere. And then it says, yet who can save unless he sees illusions and then identifies them as what they are? Yeah, exactly. We must see them for what they are. Otherwise, we're in illusion ourselves. Okay, so shall we do a little meditation to end it?
Okay.
So let's do that. Give me a moment to get myself set up. Okay, so this is meditation on today's lesson 19. Just sitting comfortably, your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. Start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Briefly scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, emotions, sensations going on, particularly anything that feels negative or limiting, contracted or constricting in any way. Remind yourself of today's idea that I'm not alone experiencing the effects of my thoughts. So I'm not alone experiencing the effects of these thoughts. Maybe I can just let them go. Exhale out. Blow them away. Pull the low stomach into the spine. Allow the last remaining air out. Find a sense of calm and peace, certainty. Breathing in and out through your nose, nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Watch the breath flowing into your nostrils and out of your nostrils. With the subtle sensations of air flowing into the nostrils, touching the inner parts of your nostrils, the tip of your nose, and this area just between your nose and your upper lip. Very subtle sensation. Notice that as you breathe in and as you breathe out. It's just very subtle sensation of air flowing over that area. And by tuning into the subtlety of it, you bring your mind very much into the present moment and you let go of all other thoughts. As you do that, be aware of any thoughts that are coming up. Maybe your mind's empty, but maybe there's some thoughts arising as it happens. And just observe them. And notice these thoughts that your mind contains. And then name each one in terms of central person or thing that it contains. Hold it in your mind as you do that. So you'd say to yourself, I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about. And then name the idea, person, theme. I'm not experiencing the effects of this thought about this person, whoever comes to mind. I'm not alone experiencing the effects of this thought about, on a global scale, the war in Iran, for instance, or whatever else shows up. So this should apply the idea to whatever comes up. Keep breathing in and out through your nose, observing the breath, staying in this calm, clear, detached state of mind. And not allowing experiencing the effects of this thought about whatever's showing up in your mind. Say it to yourself quite firmly. Let this register in your mind. You're really not alone. Whatever your thought system is thinking these thoughts, is being shared in the very moment of thinking the thought. That thought is going in to the whole mind of, it's called the sonship. Whole seemingly enormous mind that unites all living creatures. There's life to all living creatures. That is being shared right now in every thought. Every thought you have is being shared with the whole mind. And underlying that mind is pure awareness. The light, in other words, of pure awareness that is beyond all appearances, beyond all dualistic thought. So you're thinking mostly subject-object type thoughts. I, subject, dislike this person or object outside myself, or like it, or desire it, or fear it, or whatever it is. Subject-object. From the structure of our language, we have subjects and objects, and verbs to describe what the subject does to the object. But all of that doesn't exist in oneness. In non-duality, there's no subject, no object, no dualistic thought. So he meets us where we are. He says, okay, I know this is where you are. You are in dualistic thought most of the time. So asking us to change our mind about our thoughts in this lesson. And we accept that we are not alone in experiencing the effects of our thoughts about whatever it is. We're not alone experiencing the effects of those thoughts about. Whoever or whatever. Then move on to the next thought. And just casually observe any other thoughts coming up. Maybe you have some emptiness, some openness, some spaceless awareness. Just stay there. Observe your breath. Allow yourself to go into this empty, open, spaceless awareness. Notice how peaceful and freeing that is. Not just to think. Work out in the sane world. And just going deeper and deeper into this thoughtless awareness, pure, formless awareness beyond all thought. That is your pure awareness. That is who you really are. And nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, and be still. In the Bible, I think it says, be still and know that I am God. So be still and allow that knowledge, true knowledge of God, a pure formless awareness, perfect love, arrive in your mind, in your heart. Just thinking deeper, going inwards with each breath, deeper and deeper. Lovely, peaceful, calm, relaxed state. Just leave you to breathe and enjoy this beautiful, blissful silence. A couple of minutes of silence. Thoughts arise to disturb this. To notice your thought practice the lesson. Breathe in and say, I'm not alone experiencing the effects of this thought about whoever, whatever it is. Not alone experiencing the effects of this thought about whoever or whatever, and then just Exhale and blow it out. Using your breath. And sink back inwards. Another minute. Going even deeper this time into the deep, calm, restful, quiet silence. Watch your breath and try and enter this thoughtless state of awareness. There needs to be no thought, just a pure awareness. Just gently coming back into an awareness of your body through the breath and the senses into the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So one, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises. Chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top by inhale. Smile. Then scan your mind as you breathe in. And notice any thoughts that are crossing your mind. As you notice and you hold it in your mind, say, I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about whoever or whatever it is. And exhale, just blow it all out. Blow it away with the breeze of your breath. The nothingness that it really is. Going, gone. All the stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest. In this lovely, peaceful awareness. Count to two, notice the weight of your body. Pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling. Feeling my hands touch, feeling as you breathe in. Notice any smell in your nose, taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing. But in a very calm, clear way. No judgment of any of these sense perceptions. Just allow them to be as they are without the mind's thoughts about them. Any thoughts come up related to any of these sense perceptions. I just felt the lesson. I'm not alone experiencing the effects of this thoughts about whatever it is. You notice how clear, light, and calm you feel. On count of 3, just anchor the state in, set the intention to stay here, carry this state with you the rest of the evening until you go to bed and on into tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. So it is said, so it is done. And now on the count of 3, open your eyes. And just take a minute to look around. You do that, remind yourself that I'm not alone experiencing effects of my thoughts about the world, about whatever I'm seeing. Not alone experiencing the effects of my thoughts. And let that just kind of sit with you for a bit. Want to allow this to sort of embed in your mind, become part of your thought system. So you just let it assimilate as you slowly glance around the room. You're looking at various objects and things. I'm not alone experiencing my effects of my thoughts about any of this. The world I see around me. You can pick a particular object if your eyes happen to rest on that. I'm not alone experiencing effects of my thoughts about this wall, or about this computer, or about this phone. Things that we use a lot. Like computers, phones, these things often have emotionally charged meaning for us. So try those and notice any difference compared with a wall or a sofa or a chair, some more neutral kind of object. So apply the idea indiscriminately to all of them, because they're all the same, as the lesson teaches us. One more time, say, I'm not alone experiencing the effects of my thoughts about anything. So it is. Amen. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meditation and tonight's session.
Thank you, Jono.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
It was a good session. Thank you. I know I was sleepy, but it was a good meditation, good lesson. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, well, hopefully you're ready for bed. Actually, it's like, I'm just sleeping so well because we do a meditation and she says, I'm just ready to go to bed now. Well, yeah, that's kind of the idea, you know, you're nice, relaxed, alpha state, just go straight to bed. Get a good night's sleep, and I might see you tomorrow evening for the Matrix. Probably not on Sunday, but join us tomorrow for an hour or two if you can.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Jono. Namaste.
Have a good sleep and a good day tomorrow.
Yeah, you too. You too. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, good
Bye
night.
for now.
Bye.
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 Okay, so that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed that session, a couple of things you can do. Why not hit the subscribe button, drop us a like, put a comment in the chat box. All of those things are helpful. And if you subscribe, you'll be notified whenever I do go live, which is at the moment 2, 3, maybe 4 times a week. So you can enjoy all this live content. If you want to take another step, go to lifepool.com and you can enter your mobile number there and I'll sign you up to my Telegram group. You need to just have Telegram installed on your mobile device. It's a free messaging platform like WhatsApp, but I think it's better. This is why I use it. It's also less cluttered. Most people don't use Telegram for their day-to-day messaging, so kind of a bit of a cleaner channel. So go to lifeable.com, put in your mobile number, download Telegram if you haven't done that, and I'll add you to Telegram group, which I send a daily inspirational quote similar to the one I shared in this video, and some mind training material, blog posts, some comments, maybe some extra quotes, usually a mini meditation or breath break on the mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles, and share the details of these live sessions which happen on Zoom, so you can join. All available at lifeable.com, and then get on the Telegram group, and I'll notify you of all that. So check it out. If that resonates, do that, or just for now hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching or listening, and namaste. Which means the truth in me honors that same truth in you. We wish you much love, peace, and joy in that truth. Bye for now. Have a lovely